Good day everyone, we are from 11 HUMSS and the topic was given to us our storyboard, Venn diagram and W's organizer. We are here to give its definition, its use and example. This tree organizer can help us to analyze one story and help us also to organize the students' ideas. They can be used also to plan research or to brainstorm ideas. From this organizer, we can benefit students to remind them of what they already know and organize the new information they are about to take in. Students are actually able to see the relationship and connections to the information they are reading and learning, which leads to improved comprehension. So, let's get started! Storyboard.
What is a storyboard? A storyboard is a graphic organizer that consists of illustrations or images displayed in sequence for the purpose of pre-visualizing a motion picture, animation, motion graphic, or interactive media sequence. The storyboarding process, in the form it is known today, was developed at Walt Disney Productions during the early 1930s. After several years of similar processes being in use at Walt Disney and other animation studios.
The storyboard is a very important part of the pre-production process because it clearly conveys how the story will flow. As you can see, how your shots work together. It also allows you to see potential problems that will not go unnoticed, ultimately saving you time and money.
This is how we use the storyboard.
In the storyboard that we made, shows scenes that the style of education is returning back to normal. As you can see, the teacher came to school as like before, and ready to teach again and welcomed by her students. In the storyboard, the teacher is asking her students of what is their experience in studying throughout the 2 years of pandemic. And the students started to respond and her questions, and some are already talking to others just like they used to be. Venn diagram.
What is a Venn diagram? A Venn diagram is an illustration that uses circles to show the relationships among things or finite groups of things. Circles that overlap have a commonality, while circles that do not overlap do not share those traits. Venn diagrams help to visually represent the similarities and differences between two concepts.
Venn diagram uses overlapping circles or other shapes to illustrate the logical relationships between two or more sets of items. Often, they serve to graphically organize things, highlighting how the items are similar and different.
Venn diagram purposes and benefits. First, visually organize information to see the relationship between sets of two items, such as commonalities and differences. Students and professionals can use them to think through the logic behind a concept and to depict the relationship for visual communication. This purpose can range from elementary to highly advanced. To solve complex mathematical problems, assuming you're a mathematician, of course. And last but not the least, to reason through the logic behind the statement or equations, such as the Boolean logic behind a word, search involving or, and, statement and how they group.
Venn diagram history. Venn diagrams are named after British logician John Venn. He wrote about them in an 1880 paper entitled On the Diagrammatic and Mechanical Representation of Propositions and Reasonings in the Philosophical Magazine and Journal of Science. But the roots of this type of diagram go back much further, at least 600 years. In the 1200s, philosopher and logician Ramon Lull of Majorca used a similar type of diagram, wrote author M.E. Baron in a 1969 article tracing their history. She also credited German mathematician and philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz with drawing similar diagrams in the late 1600s.
Other notable names in the development of Venn diagrams are AWF, Edwards Branco Grunbaum, and Henry John Stephen Smith. Among other things, they changed the shapes in the diagram to allow simpler depiction of Venn diagram at increasing numbers of sets.
Here are some examples. We use Venn diagram to compare and contrast the learning method that we experience with or without pandemic.
Face-to-face classes. Both students and teachers are physically present in the classroom. Second, opportunities for active engagement, immediately feedback, and social emotional development of learners is available. Third, feasible only in very low-risk area with no history of infection, easily monitored external contacts, and with teachers and learners living in the vicinity of school.
Similarities. Both are created to achieve quality education and implemented as a strategy based on the situation. Both of them also give a knowledge to every student. Distance learning. Learning takes place between the teacher and the learners who are geographically remote from each other during the instruction. Classified into three types, namely modular distance learning, online distance learning, and television radio-based instruction. Most viable for the independent learners and learners supported by periodic supervision of parents or guardian.
5Ws diagrams. 5Ws diagrams are a type of graphic organizer that let the student think about and list the who, when, where, what, and why of a story or event in a simple visual way. The why variable can be interpreted in many different ways, including why the event happened or why the event was important.
5Ws diagrams are used for the examining the key points of the story or event. For example, you can use one of these diagrams to analyze a science news story, a national news story, an event that happened to the student of Fable, or a folktale.
Use these 5Ws: who, what, when, where, and why. Graphic organizer when planning a piece of text, questionnaire, newspaper or magazine article, or an interview.
The 5 W's are important to getting the whole story of fact-based research or writing. Using the words who, what, when, where, and why are important because they help you get the whole pictures, whether it's for a research paper or a news report.
According to the principle of the 5 Ws, a report can only be considered complete if it answers this question starting with an interrogative word. First, who is it about? Second, what happened? Third, when did it take place? Fourth, where did it take place? And the last, why did it happen?
Our example of our 5Ws organizer. We use this organizer in our present event. First W. Who was involved? Student that experiencing the new normal learning method. Second W. What happened? The pandemic affect the students' learning when COVID-19 started spreading. Third W. When did it happen? The pandemic started in March 2020 and still going. Where did it happen? The disease comes and started from Wuhan, China, but now the whole wide world is affected. And lastly, why did it happen? It did happen because of the spreading of the disease in our whole wide world.